I transformed my physique from skinny fat to 10 out of 10 aesthetic, and I will show you how to do it step by step in half the time it took me. Step one is to put the fork down. The reason you're fat is because you eat to the point of just feeling full, to the point where you almost feel sick. That's how I used to eat. Whenever I would have dinner, I would always eat to the point of feeling literally uncomfortable. I think a big part of it was when we eat these days, it's always accompanied by watching TV or watching Netflix or YouTube. And so you're kind of mindlessly consuming the food whilst you're watching content. And you feel like you always have to be eating something for the entire duration of whatever entertainment it is that you're watching. So if you have a 30-minute Netflix show that you're watching while you're having dinner, well then you kind of feel like obliged to eat for that entire 30 minutes. And you might have had a sufficient amount of food within 10 minutes. And so that other 20 minutes of eating is just excess food that you've mindlessly consumed for no reason. And it's that that's keeping you fat. So the solution is to just eat till you're no longer hungry, rather than to the point of feeling full. And you have to be very conscious and mindful when you eat. So it might be the case that you stop watching TV or watching TikTok or YouTube whilst you're eating food, if you think that's contributing to your overeating. You just need to reduce the portion sizes of what you're already currently eating. What I see all the time is that these people want to lose weight and they'll change up their diets drastically. They'll swap out Big Mac meals for salads. And when you make it that drastic of a change, you can never stick to it. So within the week, the person's back eating Big Mac meals. But instead, if you just stick to what you're already eating, but just lower how much of it you're eating, then you're going to be way more likely to stick to that because it's a lot easier. You're not changing drastically what it is you're eating. So when I initially lost 10 kilos of weight, what I would do was just take less of the food that my mum was cooking. So I would normally have 3 scoops of rice, and instead I would now just have 1.5. And that's all it took to lose 10 kilos of weight. My face significantly leaned up and I felt a lot more confident. The benefit of this is that it's so easy to do, but you get such a huge win from doing it. You can see just how much my face leaned up and how much more confident I was because of that. And when you see these results, it encourages you so much more to keep going and make even further progress in your fat loss journey. And look, this YouTube video is just way too short to be able to cover every aspect of diet and nutrition, which I do cover in my Skinny Fat Solution course, which is linked in the description. Step 2 is to get into the gym, but you most likely already knew that you have to go to the gym to build muscle. So why is it that you aren't going to the gym currently? For me, it was because I was scared of going. There was just so much friction between me going to the gym. The way I overcame that was going to the gym that was part of my school. Because it was already attached to somewhere I was going regularly, then that made the process of starting to train so much easier. Because I was already in the vicinity of the gym, I would go there anyway. So if you have something in your life that has a gym connected to it, for example, if you're a swimmer and the swimming pool that you go to has a gym connected to it, then start out there. If you have nothing that connects you to a gym, then another way that you can reduce that friction between you and starting to go to the gym is by grabbing a friend. Whenever I had a friend with me to go to the gym or just go anywhere, it reduced that level of discomfort that I had. And literally all you have to do is walk into a gym and ask the person at reception if you can have a tour. And just by taking that small step alone, you'll be literally in the gym and you're going to be so much more likely to actually start training once you've had the tour. There are probably a million gyms in your vicinity. There's probably about 5 within a 5-minute walk of you. So just go on Google Maps, type in gym and see what the closest ones to you are and get a tour. Now, once I got to the gym, I had no idea what to do. And so what I would do was just go on the treadmill and walk or run. I had no idea what all the other people were doing in there, the exercises they were doing. It all looked so funny. I had no idea, so I stuck to the treadmill. But no, you have to be lifting weights. You have to be using the dumbbells, the barbells, the weights to actually build muscle. And look, if you're in a similar boat to me and you're someone that has no idea what they're doing in the gym, I have a free training program also in the description below that you can check out. All you need to do as a beginner is honestly 30 to 45 minutes per session. It's quite easy. And gym overall is quite a low intensity kind of exercise because you have to rest in between sets for 1.5 to 3 minutes. It means that it's quite a low intensity form of exercise. But that being said, in the exercises that you're doing and the sets of the exercise you're doing, you should be pushing hard and they should feel hard, but they're only 30 to 40 second efforts. And they only really get hard towards the end of the set. So for the last 10 seconds of the 30-second set. What that means is you have to be pushing to failure, which means you can no longer perform another repetition of the exercise you're doing. So for example, if you're doing bench press, you might do 1, 2, 3, and then you get to 9. And then you're pushing up for your 10th rep and you can no longer actually get the weight up. That means you've reached failure. And that is the most optimal point of training to get to build muscle. You also need to make sure that you're progressively overloading, which means you're either adding weight or reps on the exercises you're doing. So for example, if you're doing bench press on 40 kilograms and you did 8 reps in your first week, in your second week, try and aim for 9 reps. And then the week after that, 10 reps. And then once you've got to 12 reps, start adding weight. So you might go to 42.5 kilograms and then 45 kilograms and just repeat that over and over, and you will build muscle continually. So when you follow that style of training, you're going to build muscle. And when you pair that with the fact that you're eating less food as well, you're getting leaner whilst you're building muscle. So you're losing fat and building muscle at the same time, which is fixing your skinny fat physique. The reason why this is the best approach to take as opposed to doing something like bulking, where you're eating more food to try and build muscle, is that if you do that, you're just going to get even fatter than you already are. So you're going to look in the mirror and look even worse than when you begun because you've just gotten fatter. And think about how demotivating that is when you've started to train, when you've put in all of this extra effort and you've got nothing to show for it because you've just gotten fatter. So you're not going to have those flow-on effects that I spoke about earlier. You're not going to be encouraged to continue training even harder and harder. So it might end up with you getting to the stage where you just quit everything altogether because you're not seeing any results. And how many times has that happened in the past? It happens all the time that people just quit and fall off from the gym. So broadly, that's how to fix your skinny fat physique. And it's what I would do if I was skinny fat again. So if you learned anything from this video, please consider subscribing. We're into 20K subs soon, and I'll see you in the next one.